episode 40. Can you believe it? And we're not going to be naughty in this one. We're going to be our authentic selves yet again in what is soon becoming one of the best weekly pods. Just check Spotify if you don't believe us. My name is Avni Shegde. There is, of course, Akshay Kumar Swami and Nikhil Popa. We're all finally having grey in this Monday. So maybe that doesn't reflect our mood. But nonetheless, we're going to talk all things cricket. And this week, we want to focus pretty much on Test cricket because we're all purists, we're all romantics of the game. And given that there's going to be a lot of Test cricket in the next month or so, we're visiting that chat. We're also going to tell you about the Duleep Trophy. We're going to tell you about why Shakib Al Hasan is pretty much the bad boy of cricket. If you guys know, you know. We'll tell you a mad stat about Kieran Pollard and what he conjured up after belting Rashid for 5 sixes. And not to forget plenty other things like the KPL Preview. We'll also give you a glimpse of 2028 and LA and the Olympics there with our thoughts on it. And if we're lucky, we could be joined in by a special guest as well. So all of that and much more. What are you waiting for? Hit the like on this YouTube video and share it with all your cricket friends. And of course, if you're listening to Spotify, spread the word. Akshay, Nikhil, I'll start with the introductions as always. How are we? And Akshay has been doing some fab work. Shout out. I know I can't really tell the viewers what it is. He will know, or they will know, or she will know in due course of time. But how are you on Monday? It's been good.
Yeah, not too bad. Played some poker. I'm pretty sure Avnish knows about that. We had a poker tournament going on in the office. But apart from that, a pretty standard Monday. Excited to be at the Chinnaswamy tomorrow. I know Avnish is aware of it. We'll probably talk about it over the course of the episode. But all in all, not too bad. And a pretty cool weekend. Was at a show yesterday. Had great fun. So yeah, all in all, not a bad weekend and not a great, not a bad Monday at all.
Indeed. Good evening to Parth and good evening to everyone joining us in the comments. Tanbeer 53 as well, going on to say no chance for Bangladesh. We're too weak. He's already talking about the Pakistan-Bangladesh Test series. And God bless everyone in Bangladesh with that particular crisis right now. If you're listening, shout out to us from cricket.com. Nix, how was your weekend and what did you do?
I've been on a kind of a detox, a lot less Indian cricket. So it gives you some time to spend without Twitter. So trying out a few things wasn't keeping too well. So had to do a few blood tests and all. And now we are on medication. But that's okay. Sometimes the routines get the better of us. So yeah, we keep trying. No problem.
God bless you with your health. And we'll, of course, talk about not just that, but lots more in this podcast. Santosh Uruppa, good evening to you. GLT20. With that emoticon, which suggests that he's not, of course, like what Shakib's done. Stokes ignored in the IPL, but injured in the 100. Noodle hacks with Vasan. Good to see you in the comments. We will talk about that and how the Pope could, of course, lead England in Test cricket. That was inevitable, guys. Come on, I had to be funny on that one. Right, plenty more graphics to show you as well. So what are you waiting for? Jump in if you guys are on the way back from traffic and you're hearing this on YouTube. Give it a like at some point in time. Right, Akshay, I just want to ask you about Test cricket in generally. What's the climate so far? Because are we kind of petering towards yet another India-Australia World Test Championship final? Or do you think teams like New Zealand, Pakistan, England, maybe South Africa are still alive? What's your first thoughts?
I mean, seems like it, especially because of India's sort of road to the WTC final. They'll be playing a series against Bangladesh, then New Zealand, and then, of course, the BGT in December. Until and unless we see something like a 5-0 whitewash down under in December, I'd be very surprised if India doesn't make it because I'm expecting a 2-0 rout of Bangladesh and a 3-0 rout of New Zealand and nothing less. I'm expecting 5 wins. I don't even see a draw being possible, especially given the venues. There's Bangalore, Mumbai, Pune for New Zealand and it's Kanpur and Chennai for Bangladesh. So, yeah, I'm fairly optimistic of India's chances. So, yeah, In all likelihood, India will be at the Lords come next June.
Okay, interesting thoughts there. We'll, of course, supplement some graphics right now on screen, but lots of comments coming through. One is SS98, who's definitely going to flood the chat with this comment saying, should Rohit and Virat play the Duleep Trophy before the start of the season? Now, we can give you a little bit of breaking news. In the last couple of hours, we know that KL Rahul will be playing that Duleep Trophy. There will, of course, be other names to look forward to, including Surya Kumar Yadav, who's gone on to say that he wants to represent India across formats. So he's not just thinking T20 international captaincy duties, but much more than that. In fact, we'll just come back to the World Test Championship chat because it is going to be a long one. But I have to showcase yet another stunning article from cricket.com's Anirudh Suresh because he was about to, of course, just shed limelight on when the last time people like Virat, Rohit, so on and so forth played Duleep Trophy or just domestic red ball cricket for India. So are you guys ready to see this particular article? I'll just share it on my screen right there. There we go. Rohit looks crazy with that regard. I think that was maybe 2014, but we will tell you in this article and much more. It does show how Virat played his last match in 2012 November, Delhi versus Uttar Pradesh. You could see that BDM back in the day. Maybe it was not the exact game, but 4,302 days ago, to be specifics, when Virat played last domestic red ball game. Rohit Sharma, 2016 September, and there's plenty more like Bumrah, so on and so forth. So I won't give the article away too much, but it's worth delving deep into in this Monday night, because we're of course talking about, what do you call it, the WTC and all of that. So Red Ball Chat, go check this out if you guys are interested in the red scheme of things, written scheme of things, and the red scheme of things, I should say. Right. Coming back to the World Test Championship chat, Nix, and here we go in terms of the standings first, right? If you look at the points table, Nikhil, what does that suggest? And again, are we seemingly moving towards an India-Australia final? Similar question to you as well.
Yeah, most likely, as Akshay said, it looks very difficult for any other team to come through unless both India and Australia suffer some tragic and very weird losses apart from expectations at home. That is because both play good enough number of tests at home. So, of the 5 games that India play, you assume them to not drop any one of them. If they drop, that will be a shock. So, it's among the rest then to really see if they can conjure up something. There are a few handy fixtures for the remaining teams, which we'll get into later. But at this point of time, it really feels like India Australia will have to do something really stupid to not make it to the final.
Yeah, I mean, it tells you a picture, that particular standings. And yet again, I'll bring it up for Akshay's reference, because New Zealand, for example, they have an Asian odyssey, so to speak, in their test match travels, because they do play Sri Lanka, they play India themselves in October, and our beloved Chinnaswamy. And they had that one-off test against Afghanistan as well. And that's not part of the World Test Championship, but still, they can mount a particular challenge in this WTC standings. And what about Sri Lanka as well? So those two teams, can you just lend your little expertise of how that's going to shape up?
With New Zealand, it will be difficult because, again, the test side especially, I can't even think of a lot of names because most of their experienced campaigners have now sort of transitioned out of the side. They are blooding in new talents, and then on top of that, their spin frailties, both with the bat and the ball. That's definitely going to play a big role against India. Sri Lanka also, again, make no mistake, at home, they are a very, very, very good side. I know we usually look at Sri Lanka in these ICC events and sort of make the mistake of taking them lightly. Sri Lanka, like Bangladesh, are very strong at home. Apart from that, what will be interesting to see, Sri Lanka play both New Zealand and Australia at home. So they play Australia later in Jan, if I'm not wrong, early Jan 2025. I'm actually looking forward to both those series. I'm not saying Sri Lanka have an outside chance, but it'll be a very good series because, again, Sri Lanka, Australia, my mind always goes back to that 2017 series where Stark was wreaking havoc. It was great fun to see him reverse swinging the ball at ease, at will. So that'll be very interesting to watch. But again, highly unlikely that Sri Lanka go through to the WTC final, also because of the series that they'll be playing against England, which is happening in this month itself. If I'm not wrong, it's starting at the end of this month. So that also won't be easy again. So all in all, tough fixtures for them, but exciting games for sure.
Yeah, 9 days, so to speak, to that England-Sri Lanka first test, where Stokes is, of course, going to be a definite no-go in that one, with all due respect. And you mentioned Sri Lanka and how they've done well recently away. You think about that Kusal Perera 153 in Centurion to pave a 2-0 test away win series, that is, and you could draw inspiration from that. Speaking of the fixtures, we will take a look at that right now. But Santosh Shirappa, a good old lad, going on to say, talking of the WTC final, they should think about other neutral venues other than England. That's a chat for another day altogether, but we appreciate your comment. Keep them coming through with regards to the WTC, because I'm going to show you a pivotal graphic right now, because it tells you exactly how it is going to be till pretty much June 2025. So India have 10 tests. That's, of course, been well documented, with Gambhir taking over the reins. 2 against Bangladesh starting September. Then we have 2 against there's 3 against New Zealand, correction there. And then there's 5 against Australia. Australia, they just have 5 in that BGT at home against India, starting on November 22nd, and that goes up to Jan 3rd. Then you look at New Zealand, who we just spoke about. Mind you, Tim Southee, that proper captain, might not be part of that subcontinental tour. because then Tom Layton will come in. We'll talk about them in greater depth. But they have 2 tests away. Sri Lanka 3 against India away, and then 3 at England at home, that one, not away. So that is just a minor correction over there. Sri Lanka themselves, again, it's going to be fascinating. Akshay stands corrected because he said Australia. They actually have England, New Zealand, and South Africa in part of their test calendar. And then Pakistan, who knows, because they play Bangladesh on the 17th of August in that 2 test match series against Bangladesh. Then they host England, and then they travel away to South Africa while playing West Indies to culminate their WTC. And then England, of course, who knows? They have 9 tests. They have to win all of it to really stand a chance. So in summation, Nix, who has the best chance? I mean, we can all kind of fancy India and Australia again, but do New Zealand, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, England have a chance?
Yeah, I mean, New Zealand, you again feel it'll be down to their batters to come good, because see, we've seen Ajaz Patel come out and come good so well, but it doesn't happen very often. That's the problem, that you come to the sub-point, you have to bring 3 spinners. Not everybody is you in terms of Sohaib Bashir, that you will come and impress everyone and be part of history. But that's the challenge, right? In the sub-point, I even felt Sri Lanka for what it's worth, they have an outside chance that you can possibly beat Australia, but then they'll bring Maxwell. And then they'll bring back Peter Handscomb, and then the Maxwell will come in and take a 5-4 out of nowhere. So that's the bit with Test cricket. It is not going to be easy. I think South Africa were dealt a harsher blow with the rain in the first game, because you felt that is a game that they could have taken away from West Indies. And West Indies also, they may not have won a lot, but if you see who all they are playing, it feels like, okay, there is still a minor chance, but all of that is playing higher to the percentage. Australia is playing 5 at home, and India is playing 5 at home against Bangladesh and New Zealand. Not 2 opponents that you lose sleep over. So that's the biggest catch that these 2 teams have. So let's see. I'm in for any last minute trouble. I sincerely hope Pakistan can do something, because there were a lot of tests waiting in the wings, and they'll play at home also. But भाई अगर रोड दे दो कि वापस इंग्लैंड को, तो good luck countering Ben Duckett, Ollie Pope. अभी तो Jamie Smith भी आ गए, so they will not leave them alone.
Yeah, and Pakistan, you feel probably, like you said, the home advantage, playing 7 out of those 9 tests at home gives them a chance. But then, Akshay, you think maybe the fixtures, the way it's lined up, it's going to be India-Australia, because everyone will eat points off each other. And then India and Australia, anyway, top of the pops right now. Australia can't really cock it up, because even if they lose that, say, 3-0 to India, which is not going to happen, they're not going to go out of it. So do you think it's going to be India-Australia? Let's just be honest.
Yeah, like I said, in all likelihood, it'll be India, and in all likelihood, it'll be Australia sort of taking on India at Lords. Also because, again, until and unless either of the sides whitewash the other in December, it's not going to be happening. And I'm expecting a riveting series, something like a 2-1, 3-2, 2-2 even kind of series, hopefully, fingers crossed, yeah. So given that, yeah, it's going to be India, Australia at Lords, and fingers crossed, yeah, I would love to see that, man. India, Australia at Lords, that's as close to a dream game as possible. Would love to be there. So yeah.
Yeah, let's go and do fan camps.
Yeah, I mean, I would love that. Honestly, I mean, imagine interviewing all those MCC dudes over there. But it'll be fun. Abbas Kundi saying New Zealand announced their squad today for the Afghanistan-Sri Lanka matches. You have 4 spinners. We saw that. It's going to be, again, Tim Southee's part of that, but whether he actually plays those games remains to be seen. Just before we finish this WTC chat, boys, South Africa, West Indies, again, yesterday when I was watching that culmination of the first test, I was thinking to myself, Nick, could South Africa have been braver and declared slightly earlier? I know rain played a huge part. I know Alec Athanaze kind of was, how do we say it, just lending his fortitude to kind of see a draw. Could they have done anything else? Because you feel South Africa as well, if they got the WTC points in the first game, they can really make a charge because they have a couple of games at home.
Yeah, they could, but it's also a very inexperienced lineup. No, it's very tricky to leave that door open when you're just trying to rebuild your side without a prolific opponent. To credit though to Todd Zorzi, I think he played really well to set the game up for them, but they had just lost too much time today. Because for one instance, forget South Africa, I was thinking West Indies could try and chase this, given the way they were batting before Maharaj struck after tea. But the weather was never going to allow them to have enough, and the pitch wasn't such where you can run through a side. It was a scrape for everybody involved at all points of time. So disappointing, but then that was expected. The rain was predicted for all of these days, and but good game for Jamal Warrican. Good game for so many young players coming in. I saw Bellingham bat and I felt, oh boy, this boy he just belongs. I don't know. I could be very early into that hype train, but it just felt that he's there. He was belonging there. Yes, he got out to a very indifferent pool, but there are some players who just love watching bat. So I think Bellingham was that player, and they have games, as you said, at home. Hopefully, even West Indies can win a few games, and South Africa can go back home and win a few. So फाइनल में जो भी एटलीस्ट टेस्ट क्रिकेट देखने में मजा है.
I knew I was
well timed.
I knew I was on mute, so of course just had to do that. I was just reading a couple of articles from that game, Akshay, and I was thinking to myself that Maharaj bowled exceptionally well, kind of has a couple of good stats with regards to economy. Go check that on cricket.com. But generally, if you're a South African fan, we just spoke about certain fixtures they have. You could take down the West Indies in their own backyard. It's not the devastating West Indies of even the 2000s. So do you think it's a missed opportunity for the Proteas, the first test?
Not really, and I do agree with Nikhil. We'd spoken about this last time as well, right? While previewing the series, it's a very inexperienced and raw South African side we're talking about. A lot of new players coming into new positions as well. So you've got to give them some time and credit where it's due. West Indies actually, I mean, it's not like South Africa did not accelerate when needed. Second innings mein kya 6 ke run rate se khel rahe the, if I'm not wrong, for a brief period as well. West Indies just play the typical attritional style of cricket that you often come to see of them, which is why a lot of time was consumed. And then, of course, there was also rain, playing spoil sports. So there's very little you can sort of blame South Africa for that. And Keshav Maharaj with that marathon spell could not really catch it live. Of course, there were better things to watch, if I may say so, or put it that way. But good on him. Also won the player of the match for that two fantastic spells, both in the first and the second innings. But all in all, ठीक है. नई side है, नए लोग हैं. David Bellingham, for some reason, also sort of reminds me of Mike Hussey in a very twisted way. थोड़ा late debut किया था, लेकिन debut करते it always looked कि boss, he's here to rule the roost. He's here to dominate international cricket, and I'm expecting nothing less of him as well. So yeah, looking forward to watching a lot more of him.
Yeah, the word is late bloomer for David Bellingham, and I think he does give me those vibes as well. And South Africa on the whole, let's see if they can mount up and make something of this World Test Championship challenge, because they are down in pretty much the bottom spaces with West Indies and Bangladesh. Now, speaking of Bangladesh, they take on Pakistan, where we'll preview that one really quickly, as well as the England-Sri Lanka one. If you're enjoying this content, please hit a like on YouTube. And a last word in the South Africa-West Indies series from me, 142 overs of that game was eaten up. So maybe if the rain didn't intervene, we could have had a result. That's my first point. The second point is, when I generally look back at South Africa-West Indies, Test cricket in the West Indies, it makes me think about my 9-year-old boyhood watching the games. And I remember that one game of West Indies versus South Africa, and it was a brilliant game. I think that was the game Courtney Walsh must have retired in, and it was Kirsten and good old Callis having an absolute brilliant series over there. Meanwhile, Priyanshu Tiwari saying, hi guys, IPL discussion happening. It might happen. If you're lucky, we will tell you what's happening around Gujarat Titans, and if Rahul Dravid's going to get the job with Rajasthan Royals in the best of the rest as well. Path going on to say random, but Avnish, do you play FPL? I'm going to start this week. I've been always playing it, but half-heartedly, but Fantasy Premier League, who knows? Bruno's captain for Friday against Fulham. Mikhail Louis by in nervous 30s. I mean, tell me about him. And almost, that cliche in cricket, you get off to perfect starts, but then you can't make it count. So far in his little career, that's what's happened. Right, let's not tangent away. Pakistan, Bangladesh. Let's just quickly, again, have a little word for Bangladesh, because PCB were kind enough to invite them for the practice. They couldn't practice in their home country because of the crisis so far. Tashkent's back in. What can Bangladesh, of course, just play party poopers for Pakistan in this one? Because even they're down in the doldrums with regards to the WTC, Akshay. So how do you see this series? Is it going to be just 2-0 Pakistan written all over it?
I feel so. If the venues, which one? I'm guessing Rawalpindi is hosting one. I'm not sure which is what's the venue for
Karachi.
the other test. Karachi, all right. So if Rawalpindi is
Karachi,
अंदरूनी मुल्क पूरा कंप्लीट करना चाहिए ना, चांद नवाब बड़े लोग हैं भाई. But anyways, Rawalpindi, so I'm expecting it to be a flat track, like always. If that's going to be the case across both venues, then I don't see Bangladesh standing any chance. They usually stand a chance when there's something in it for their bowlers, their spinners in particular. So, given how Pakistan surfaces have traditionally played, I'm expecting it to be a 2-0 whitewash in Pakistan's favor. Also, the likes of Taskin and Mushfiqur Rahim also coming back into the test side will definitely bolster their lineup, their 11. But even then, I'm not sure how good will they be. And also, I know it's not, that shouldn't be used as an excuse, but somewhere at the back of all their heads, what's happening back home, that's going to play a role. It's not easy to forget everything that's happening back home. Cricket, aisa matlab, you can't sort of just leave that part of your brain out and play, freely. So it's definitely going to play a role. Good on Pakistan for hosting them, for sort of constantly communicating with them in terms of getting the team over and ensuring practice sessions for them and all of that. But yeah, I'm not expecting a lot from Bangladesh, but we all are here for the underdog. So yeah.
Nick, so I was actually trying to get a look at Pakistan's squad for this Bangladesh series. They've announced it. I tried going to the PCB website, but then, of course, it banned me from going there because you can't really check it out. But then I checked it out on good old cricket.com. And Shan Masood is kind of not just given a blunt response to match-fixing allegations, but he's also kind of told us the way forward for Pakistan cricket. Did you see that? And what do you make of Pakistan on the test side? Can they, again, start with these 9 tests as a blank canvas?
Yeah, they can. But the only thing is how many resets are enough resets. So that is something that I'm looking forward to with them. Because every home season you feel, what are the decks doing? What is the point of playing on flat roads which doesn't take your game forward in any sense of imagination? There is where I feel Shan Masood, from whatever little we saw of him in Australia, it came through as a person who's thinking long term. He's not a person who's thinking very short term and looking for immediate goals. So if they can figure a way out that let's not play on roads. Yes, if we put something for paces, Bangladesh have the attack. Yes, if we put something for spin, Bangladesh have the attack for that. But then that is the bit that you have to take forward. Over the years, if you think of Pakistan, you wanted to think of Mustaq, you wanted to think of people who could run through you with pace. But that is how you develop an identity. So they can start with the blank canvas, but Rawalpindi, Karachi, I'm looking forward to them having enough in the surface. Because if you play on road, see any which ways the format is being cried out loud, ke bhai, ja raha hai, it's not alive, nobody's watching. And if you play on roads, nobody will watch it. But if you play on slightly spicy surfaces, bring Bangladesh into the game, boy, that is going to be some series. And see, you don't get to watch a lot of test cricket any which way. So if we can bring crowds in, that will just add to the spectacle. So I'm looking forward to Shan Masood leading more off the field in this series as opposed to on the field, because again, like in subcontinental teams, there is very little power the captain has any which way. So hoping firstly we play on very good decks, and then I'm here for Abrar to take a 5 for or Taijul to take a 10 for. Who knows? We are always fun with spinners.
Okay, let's see how that goes. I mean, I just really want to take a couple of comments now because they're coming with regards to this series. If Pakistan make those dead pitches again, they'll be swept away by England pretty easily, even if Stokes misses out. That's exactly what Nikhil said 9.5 minutes ago. Go check it out if you don't believe me. Abbas Kunde saying, King kar lega? Are, Bobsy hai. Will he sort out this Bangladesh masla? I mean, there's no masla to sort out, right? I mean, essentially, again, we're going to expect roads. It could be 2-0. Let us know in the comments if you guys echo those thoughts. Whenever I think Bangladesh and Pakistan or Pakistan, Bangladesh in test, I think about that famous knock that Inzamam played. I think in Multan, was it maybe 2005? He won the game with literally 2 wickets left or something like that. If you guys know properly, tell me in the comments. Abdullah Shafiq and Aga Salman are much wilder wicket than Babar Azam. Just feel teams will focus more on Babar, which gives them freedom to express. And look, they have, all right, 7 test matches at home, 3 against England, 2 against West Indies, 2 against Bangladesh now, and then, of course, the 2 against South Africa away. Even if they win 5 out of 7 at home and they get a result in South Africa, they could knock the door of the World Test Chapter final. So Pakistan have plenty to play for, and I really like Shan Masood, not just for his English, but for his potential leadership skills in the Pakistan role right now. Right, because we're talking about Test match cricket, I cannot just forgive that England, Sri Lanka are playing one, but they are playing a test match series. So really quickly then, because Sri Lanka took on India, albeit a different format, but similar faces, Akshay, going to go play a different kettle of fish with regards to what they're going to come up against Bazball in their own backyard. Sri Lanka, can they even dare to dream in this series?
Again, like, can they? Of course they can. Yeah. Who can't? They can. Will they? Like, I'm sorry. I know I've used this sort of phrase a lot of times, but it looks very unlikely, to be honest, because the conditions are bang opposite to what they find at home. Again, not exactly. I'm just trying to think of the names and then in their squad. I just have the squad in front of me, and sure, you have those names. You look at Nisanka, you look at Mendes, you look at all of them. You think he hai, matlab hai. Karunaratne, Chandamal, all of these, like, these are names who've been a part of the Sri Lankan setup. Nikhil Bhai's favorite, Dhananjay De Silva, like, they all can contribute on their day, but to win a series, remember the Lords, of course, who doesn't? I remember Jimmy Anderson, and I remember that whole event. In fact, I've watched the highlights of it God knows how many times, but again, यार एक मैच जीतना और एक सीरीज जीतने में फर्क है, and especially England with this baseball and all of that. If I'm not wrong, this is the first time the two sides will be taking each other on in the baseball era. So I'm just looking forward to seeing the likes of Harry Brook and how they attack Sri Lankan bowlers. In terms of pacers, who do they have? Because आधे तो सब मतलब बीमार होके अस्पताल में या कहीं पे. They've got Asata Fernando, they've got Vishwa Fernando, Lahiru Kumara, Kasum Rajata. Again, I don't think it'll be their day under the sun. But sure, I mean, let's just see how they go about it, because they were able to sort of tame a fairly aggressive looking Team India at home. I know it's going to be altogether a different beast, a different ball, literally, when it comes to facing England in tests. But you never know. You never know. Like the direct hit goes on to say, Sri Lanka, hold tight, folks. Don't get away from your plans by baseball. Bat well. देखते हैं यार, देखते हैं. I know it sounds cliche, but I don't think, to be honest.
Yeah, with Ben Stokes out, it's a blessing in disguise for them. But we saw how England swallowed West Indies earlier this summer. So hopefully it's on deja vu from a Sri Lankan perspective. And England also are kind of trying to get as many points as well. So they're going to not take it lightly. Really quickly then, how does the English team look? I know there's no Zach Crawley for that first test, potentially no Ben Stokes. So Ollie Pope will lead next. They also, Gus Atkinson, fantastic series that he had against the West Indies. But it's almost been a while that we've seen Stokes, Anderson, Broad not be part of Test 11. So again, this is a chance for maybe to blood in a new leader into Pope, a new opener into Jordan Cox, and then of course Atkinson to pick up where he left off. Would you agree?
Yes, 100%. But again, it's England, so I have to mention their captain got injured time to play a T20 tournament in between of a Test season. So well done. I don't see any outrage of why 100 is killing Test cricket, but we will get on that bandwagon later. But to your point, Dan Lawrence, Jordan Cox is someone, he did a blinder of not a blinder, but a very good now just yesterday for the Oval Invincibles, and he looks a very good rounded player. Ramana Kiran, thanks for the word. But I really, England death, I will always hope for the underdog, because all I need is two pacers to be disciplined and two spinners to just do their job. See, West Indies showed us how to beat England. They just could not sustain it. I'm just hoping that Sri Lanka spent enough time watching where all West Indies are. Because if you have an opening order which is not very reliable, see, Ben Duckett doesn't leave the ball, Dan Lawrence is going to open. That leaves Pope enough time to get in very, very early. So if any of Asita, Vishwa, Kasun, Lahiru Kumara, they can get in and bowl a very good top spell, it will set the game up with no strokes. And to me, the first test is everything, because you see the decks are getting drier everywhere in the 100 as well. If there is a hint of turn, I am all in to see how Jeffrey Van Der Seyf is playing, or they have other options that can come good. All I feel is Sri Lanka have enough to stay in the game. Now, can they do that enough? Can they do that regularly to test England? Because whenever West Indies threatened England, somebody stood up, whether it was Brook, whether it was Root or Stokes. See, Pope, I know Pope has great numbers, but for some reason you always feel he's a very, very tentative name. First 50 balls, you can get him out anytime. So if you do that, I think Sri Lanka have more than enough chance. And all I want them to remember is the 2014 series. Nobody expected them to do anything, and they ended up winning the series. So you have that to take an inspiration from. Of course, it is hoping against hope, but I will back the underdogs. And yeah, some interesting talents from England to watch out for. let's see how Sohaib Bashir goes against a subcontinental side playing in England. That will be a first for him as well.
Yeah, interesting that you mentioned that, because I was looking at the fixtures, and 3 tests, England, Sri Lanka. First one, Manchester. Second one, Lords. And third one, the Oval. So maybe that last test match, because we know how Oval can spin, especially to the fag end of the summer. Who knows what could happen? But again, I'm thinking it might be a one-sided series. Might even get over really quick. You talk about what, 15 days of test cricket, out of which we'll probably get 9, 10. But that's what we saw in the West Indies series as well. But I hope to be proven wrong. Priyanshu Dhawan, we will, of course, talk about the 100 and Pollard's mad record. We can tell you one where no other cricketer has achieved what he's achieved after what he did against Rashid Khan. If you're wondering what that is, hang around for a bit. We will tell you indeed. There was a time when Murli took 15 wickets in a test in England, won the Sri Lanka. Yeah, I remember that at the Oval. He took a 9-for. It was absolutely brilliant. And he got a lot of left-handers out, one of which was Mark Butcher. I think there's Graham Thorpe, God bless him. And then there was Alex Stewart and so on and so forth. So England, Sri Lanka as well. I remember so many great memories. Tell us in the comments. So that's pretty much all the test match cricket chat that we're done with. Direct hit going on to say, Jaisuri, the man of tough calls, will help with the mindset. Is he going to be part of that England thing? I know he's interim coach. Have they not found a proper replacement option?
I thought they'd hired him only exclusively for the India series. I don't think he's traveling to England.
Yeah, but he could now for all the good reasons that they've beaten India. I don't see any reason for him to not travel.
Yeah, and Sai Madhav, you popped in this question earlier. Stokes is injured, hamstring injury in the Northern Superchargers 100 game yesterday. Batting, retired, hurt, just facing 4 balls. So again, like Nick's pointed out, why would you want to I know it's all great for the 100 and the promotion of that game because he's part of the ECB, but again, it's just not worked out for England. Any other test matches happening anytime soon? We're not, of course, going to talk about India, Bangladesh now because that's still a while away. We spoke about West Indies, South Africa, Pakistan, Bangladesh done, England, Sri Lanka done, and that pretty much leaves us.
There's Afghanistan, New Zealand, but I don't think any of us. Yeah. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah, exactly. So let's move on, because before we get to the best of the rest, it's only fair that we not just look back in what's been a decent Olympics in terms of plenty of stories, not so many for India, but we'll try telling you our best in the next 3 to 4 minutes. We'll also bring up the Monday Night Live question tonight, because look, in 4 years' time, literally 4 years' time, cricket's going to be in the Olympics. So what are your thoughts on it come LA 2028? You guys can tell us right now, because the next 5 to 10 minutes is the Olympic space. You can tell us everything that you've liked in this Olympics. I know cricket is going to be inducted into the Olympics in LA 2028, but essentially there are 4 more other sports such as lacrosse, squash, for example. There is, of course, baseball and softball as well. So lots to like in that game. Now, before I get Nix and Akshay to speak about what's going to happen in 2028, here's Vikas, good old Vikas, giving us some trivia about the Olympics in cricket.
ओलंपिक्स खत्म हो गया, लेकिन नीरज के गोल्ड ना जीतने का थोड़ा तो दुख हुआ, राइट? लेकिन ठीक है, अगले ओलंपिक्स में नीरज और इंडियन क्रिकेट टीम दोनों ओलंपिक्स में गोल्ड जीतेगी। नहीं, हाँ, एलो ओलंपिक्स में क्रिकेट भी है, और इसके पहले भी ओलंपिक्स में क्रिकेट खेला जा चुका है। यस, इन 1900 ओलंपिक्स इनिशियली ग्रेट ब्रिटेन, बेल्जियम, नेदरलैंड्स और होस्ट फ्रांस ने पार्ट लिया था, लेकिन 2 टीम्स के बैकआउट करने के बाद ग्रेट ब्रिटेन और फ्रांस के बीच एक ही मैच हुआ, और वो मैच भी 2-डे टेस्ट मैच था जो ग्रेट ब्रिटेन ने जीता, और इस मैच में 11 नहीं 12 प्लेयर्स खेले थे, और इसी के कारण इसे फर्स्ट क्लास का दर्जा भी नहीं मिला। फ्रांस की टीम में तो कुछ प्लेयर्स भी नहीं थे, वो आईफिल टावर के कंस्ट्रक्शन वर्कर्स थे। इंटरेस्टिंगली ये मैच 2 टीम्स खेल रहे थे, लेकिन फिर भी इनको गोल्ड और सिल्वर नहीं मिला। ग्रेट ब्रिटेन को सिल्वर और फ्रांस को ब्रॉन्ज दिया गया, लेकिन 1912 में जाकर इसको रिस्पेक्टिवली गोल्ड और सिल्वर में बदला गया। लेकिन अब ऐसा क्यों हुआ, ये आप थोड़ी सी रिसर्च करके हमें कॉमेंट में बताइए।
It's food for thought, that, to be fair, not just in the history of how cricket's featured in that 1900 games in Paris. It was actually proposed 4 years earlier in Athens, and cricket couldn't be part of it. So here we are 128 years later, Nix. I mean, not yet, 124 years, but speaking about 4 years later. How is it going to expand the game? Ricky Ponting spoke about it. Some of the players chomp into the bits to play in the Olympics and get gold for their country. Do you think it's going to be more harm than good, or vice versa?
I don't see a reason why it should be a harm. It will only grow the sport, because the sport doesn't grow if only a countable number of teams play. So that is something that I'm looking forward to. I'm not sure of our attention spans by that time. Maybe it will be T10 or T5 because we're too busy just swiping up. So I don't know people are going to watch 3 hours of cricket. So T20 also might be a longer format, but genuinely looking forward to that. Very good opportunity to cater to newer audience and take the game there. So I don't see it a harm, but I'm very interested to see what format goes through. I don't see Test cricket. They advocating Test cricket, ODI cricket का भी chance नहीं. So yeah, T20 के बाद भी I still think कि T20 भी नहीं survive कर पाएगा. It'll have to be T10 or T5. I don't think people can spend 3 hours. While see, I mean, if you have Neeraj Chopra playing and India playing, at this point in time, I'd want Neeraj Chopra playing. So it's just how things are. So to each his own, which is why maybe a shorter format might go through. Who knows?
That's what I was just going to ask Akshay, in fact. What is the format you think they'll eventually come up with? Will they be going down the T20 route? Will it be T10s? We've seen Hong Kong cricket sixes before. Will that be included part of the Olympics to make it a much more vibrant affair? They've hinted at all sort of marketing angles and gimmicks. Of course, pulling Virat Kohli's name into any cricket tournament will, of course, elevate the brand value, so on and so forth. The IOC chief himself has said that a while ago. So how is it going to play out in Los Angeles, Akshay? It's great to just think of this idea, and it's a dreamy idea. It's coming to reality right now. But T10, T20, what's going to happen in the Olympics, man?
Yeah, it will be very interesting. I don't think even T20s would fit the bill for Olympics because, again, like Nikhil Bhai mentioned, it's too longer format. I know, like we as cricket watchers, we think this is the shortest format. What are you talking about? But to the average sports viewer, it won't be that easy to sort of hold on to or just watch one sport for 3 hours, especially because there are a lot of events happening simultaneously. So Olympics or IOA will have to, IOC will also have to take that into consideration. They most likely, I wouldn't say most likely, but I have a feeling that cricket will go the football route. It could be 5-a-side, 10 overs, something on those lines. And I genuinely think that's how they will be looking at it. They want to ensure that the game does not last longer than 2 hours, which is what hockey games last right now. About not even 2 hours, about an hour and a half is what hockey games last, and football as well. Those games last about an hour. I don't think they would want to extend it too much because again, cricket is not a global enough sport. Like I know people might argue, boss, tennis का क्या है? Tennis भी तो जा सकता है लंबा, लेकिन tennis global है, सचमुच global है. Tennis is played across over 50 nations, and I'm just talking about the elite tennis players. Not necessarily the case with cricket. You will at best see 8 to 10 nations taking part, including USA by virtue of being hosts. So yeah, I'm expecting something in those lines, 5-a-side, 7-a-side even. And I don't see the innings being longer than 10 overs. I'm all for it though. I have absolutely no idea why would someone think it'll cause more harm. I don't see any harm being caused. You want more people to watch the sport. You want more people to be aware of what the sport is all about, because right now we just like to show numbers and say, cricket is the second most watched sport after football. Bhai, 150 crore का देश है अपना, naturally numbers game में तो हम हमेशा ऊपर होंगे. It's about how many countries are watching, how many different geographies, cultures are watching. That's what makes a sport global, not just sheer numbers. So yeah, I'm genuinely all for it, and I can't be excited enough.
Yeah, I know you're a huge sports fan, so am I, so is Nick, and I'm guessing lots of people in our chat, the viewers and the audience, love not just cricket, but other sports, and that was evident in the last 23 days, where you guys pretty much got a glimpse of different athletes pursue their trade. Lots of amazing comments coming through right now with regards to the Monday Night Live question. If you guys are just joining us right now, shout out to all the 100 people watching across. I know it's Monday. We don't expect you all to really tune in live, but I know you guys invariably catch us throughout the course of the week, and that's what we love. We built a community, and subscribe because we're almost so close to 93K on YouTube and 450K on Insta if you like that. Chandan Ram, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Hopefully the pitches in LA 2028 won't be like the one in New York. Hopefully not. Maybe it will. Who knows? Because I feel only 10 teams will be considered again. And that's a good point that you bring up, Noodle. We spoke about what format, and we probably might just think T10 or T20 or whatever. But how many teams? How could they choose that? Because, again, I'm thinking about someone like the West Indies. They're not going to be playing the Olympics. They're going to be separated in terms of countries. Trinidad and Tobago, St. Lucia. We saw St. Lucia women win that sprint as well. So, Nick, again, how are they going to choose? Or do you have any sort of idea what way they could go down to?
And at this point of time, absolutely none. Because it's a different thing when you are trying to figure out qualifiers and everything. because ICC works in a very different manner. They change their own qualification process 5 years down the line. So at this point of time, it's very far-fetched to even think how they will pick and choose. And I don't think I would mind more countries playing. Eventually, West Indies group of 7. If you want to send 7, send 7. The more, the merrier. The point of Olympics is to have many people come in together, and which is why it makes me think more about the format, because for you to have every one of them playing and enough number of games to come through as a qualifier, it will have to be a very short format. It cannot be a longer format where you have to wait days for firstly the qualifiers to get over and all of that. So very interested to see how it pans out. Potentially a partnership with ICC, that these are the number of teams that already play. Okay, these are the X number of teams that want to play. I don't think you can be competing against them. I don't think that will work out. So eventually, I'm looking forward to see a new system altogether in place. Because existing rankings se dekhenge, so it's going to be the same lot of people playing. So that I don't think should be happening.
Exactly. Part saying this, Akshay, just come to you 1 minute. Top rank T20.
We heard you.
Sorry. I thought there was an ad going off. I don't know if you guys could hear that. But I was just trying to allude to maybe this concept, right? Have a T10 affair for 20 teams around the globe, 4 teams from each continent, if that works out. I mean, essentially, we can pick and choose as well. But I'm guessing America will automatically qualify. I don't know if the IOC have that rule, but they will be participating in cricket, I'm guessing. Then you have maybe the top contenders from different parts of the world, where I think they do it for football a similar way. So were you trying to make the same point and go on? What were you trying to say? But
again, the biggest difference is, like Nikhil Bhai mentioned, cricket, for example, does not have Great Britain. It has England and Scotland. Cricket has West Indies and not Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, and all of these nations playing. So taking those rankings don't make a lot of sense, because if you watch the Olympics, it was Great Britain that was playing. So England, Scotland, all of them were playing together. That won't be the case now in cricket. So how are you going to differentiate that? You can't now all of a sudden say, okay, in international cricket, you're playing for 2 different sides, but come the Olympics, now play for the same team. It can't work that way. So which is why I'm guessing they will follow the Commonwealth Games route. I agree with Priyanshu. I was just thinking of that, because when the Commonwealth Games happened in 2022, how it worked was the first ranked team, which was England, it was England, by virtue of being ranked first, qualified directly. And then the 6 next... the first top 7 ranked teams directly qualified, and only the 8th team was sort of considered by means of a qualifier. I don't think you need to wait for 7 teams or something in cricket. You will probably have to have maybe the top 2 or top 3 teams going through, and then the other 4-5 positions being fought for by means of a qualifier of some sort. But again, the problem is, if it's not going to be a T20, if it's going to be T10, there's no international T10. So what rankings are you going to consider? You can't consider T20 rankings for T10, which means let's just have qualifiers like football. England plays the qualifiers, France plays the qualifiers, Argentina plays the qualifiers. खेलो यार, मजा आएगा उसमें भी. थोड़ा चाहिए, अपने को भी मसाला चाहिए. गलती से Pakistan लुढ़क गया, Sri Lanka लुढ़क गया, India, if they slip up somewhere, it'll be fun to watch. We'll all have the nerves, we'll all love that. So I'm guessing just straight up qualifiers, and whoever wins the qualifiers comes through. So I'm guessing that would be the easiest way out for this.
And I think they can really take a page out of football here, because they kind of ultimately do all the time, even when the IPL was concepted, let's be honest. So look, when the football happens in Olympics, guys, I know you guys know this, but essentially there's not all the top players playing in it, because they have rules like under 23 players, like Santosh Uruppa has mentioned, with only 2 over 30. I think Lacazette captain France, and he's not even like part of their 3rd team right now. I think he's retired from the main team, but he's played in the Olympics. So things like that, cricket has still another 2-3 years to figure it out. They've only figured out LA 2028 and the bid to make the tournament. So let's see how that goes. Tanveer 53 saying Neeraj deserves more fame than cricketers. Indeed, man, some of the stories that these athletes have, amazing, impeccable. I know every athlete has a tale to tell, but seriously, shout out to all the participants in this year's Olympics from India and rest of the world, of course. I think for starters, it would be T20 in 2028, and then they will see. Look, ultimately, this is your space. That's what we've asked you tonight, and that's what we've been talking about in the last 10 minutes. We'll move on from this chat, but if you guys are just joining us, because the Olympics has happened and all of that, what are your thoughts? What do you want to see? Is it T10? Is it a 20-year tournament? Tell us. Do you want to see Virat play? So what rules would you like to see? Let us know. Even after the show's over, in the comments below, we can get interactive there as well. plenty of other things to talk about, and we can't wait to go forward with the show. Last comment with regards to the Olympics: only 6 teams of cricket and 16 teams of football Olympics, doing the injustice, saying Tanbir 53. There's one more thing I wanted to bring up. What was it? I was forgetting it. Maybe if it comes up in my mind, I will speak about it later. But look, that was that with regards to the main chat of MNL this week, episode 40. If you're joining us right now, amazing. Let's move on to the best of the rest, because there's so much to get into there as well. Right, best of the rest. We, of course, pan it up every other goddamn cricket-related news, and I mean that in the most nicest of sense. So let's, of course, start the best of the rest different this week by showing you what's to watch this week. I know there's not that much cricket, at least for you Indian cricket team fans, but there is Canada-USA, if you like that. It's part of the whole North American qualifiers. If you like that, we've seen it in the T20 World Cup of late. So if you like it, go check it out. Thursday, Netherlands, USA, again, it's part of the same competition. There is also that second test starting between the West Indies and South Africa. Wednesday, there's nothing, but there's a key game in the 100. If you guys are interested in that, there's hundreds going on throughout. And Friday, we see the resumption of that test as well. And not forget the rest of the week being very mundane. I would like to say on the 15th, even though it's our beloved Independence Day, there is Maharaja Premier League action, which is the KPL going to start. I think that's available in fan code, even though I don't have to promote them here. Right. With that said, guys, what do you want to talk about with the best of the rest? Should we go Pollard power straight away, Akshay?
Why not? It's definitely worth talking. I mean, those shots, the knock, and the way he sort of took his side home, the Invincibles, it was fantastic. He actually sort of, proved the meaning of whatever his team name is, the Invincibles.
Yeah, I want to ask Nix to take this one, because he was the one who kindly reminded everyone on that evening to watch this absolute madness go on against Rashid Khan, not some random dibbly-dobbly bowler from England. And if you guys didn't see it, go check it out. It's all over YouTube, Instagram, and it was just sure hitting for a man who's literally hung up his boots already, just participating in all these leagues just to get a little bit more moolah. He's stonked it all right. Nix, what did you like before we show everyone that mad stat?
Bro, it was Karen Pollard and it was Rashid Khan. It took me 5 minutes to just actually accept that, boy, this guy has hit Rashid Khan. It's not a random leggy he's just popped it over the fence. And the crazy thing about it is, till that point of time, it never looked like he had the measure of the innings. But come Rashid Khan, short ball hit away, full lofted, and then dude, this is gone. Now Rashid, is no way that he can comfortably come ahead and just do something about it. And that's been the season, I guess, for Rockets as well, in that sense. Time and again they found them in situations where you feel, bhai, yahan se to nahi haar sakte. And they eventually found a way, bhai, oh no, we have the talent. So it was great to see Pollard do that. And all we hear it very often, form is temporary, class is permanent. That was one day. And again, it is Rashid Khan. I'm sorry to mention it again, but he's not your Tom, Dick and Harry that everybody can hit. So that, I think, was very, very, very good. And even if you missed out yesterday, I think Nicholas Pooran played a maniac knock. They needed 115 from 50. And the guy ended up scoring 63-45. They won with balls to spare. And he hit 113 meters 6. It was fun. Fazal Farooqi, they needed 26 in 10. Forget 150. They needed 26 in 10. Fazal Farooqi comes. 6, 4, 5. Dude, yeah, I'm done with it. Let me just chop this off all by myself. So, very good to see West Indies having fun. Maybe I wish West Indies win a World Cup, but okay. For now, I'll take individuals coming to.
Yeah, I mean, Nicholas Pooran was insane. That ball just kept flying. Go check that 130-meter 6 out as well. And even though Fazal Farooqi literally has been having a decent tournament, he bowled one of great slow balls and then followed up with a absolute Yorker in one of the games. I absolutely love that. And Parth spotting Akshay's mistake. He doesn't play for Oval Invincibles. It's Southern.
Sorry, the green had me there, but completely good on you for pointing that out. I uttered those words and then I was like, wait, shouldn't he be playing for Southern because of the Jayawardene MI connection? And then I was like, holy smokes. Yeah.
It's how apt that the green got to him. and Rashid is injured, and Green replaces him.
No, I mean, but look,
Green.
props for Par to point that out, because even Sai Madhav cheekily saying, I like how Amish plugged him without playing Olympics by sub. I mean, we tried to do our best and patterning to all audiences, man. It's fine. It's all right. 1 second. Shubham Sharma asking Nikhil something. Why didn't India drop down pitches? Look, we'll take that in the 12th man segment, Shubham, for sure. So stick around at the end of the show, because we're just talking about the 100 and a mad Pollard graphic right now in just going to be bewildering you. Sai Madhav, meanwhile, saying, I thank MI think tank for retiring me out so early as a CSK fan for the 100th time. He still holds me, always pulls off some blinders. He's talking about Kieran Pollard. Now, what is that mad stat? We've been literally building up so much. Are you guys ready? I don't think the chat's ready for it, to be fair. Should we just waste 5 seconds and then like wait for it? Okay, fine. Anyway, Pollard, this is what he did, right? So 5 against, of course, Rashid. But did you know he's the only man on the planet, at least this is what we think so, who's hit 6 sixes of Akila Dhananjaya, 5 against Rashid that we saw, 4 sixes he actually did against Mohammad Irfan in the PSL in March 2019. 3 sixes, he's done that twice. My stats man and producer tells me the Kagiso Rabada one was a more vivid one, so we put that in there. And then he's, of course, blasted bowlers, consecutive sixes, back-to-back balls of 2, and, of course, he's hit over 1,100 sixes. So, literally, can you name me a better stat in cricket, boys? And, I mean, I was thinking of any other guy in the world who would have done this, past or present. I'm thinking maybe Yuvraj Singh, maybe Herschel Gibbs, because they have that sixer in their name. But even for them to hit 5 sixes of someone in a different game, 4 sixes in a different game, it's too much, it's too coincidental. So that is one hell of a stat, Akshay.
It definitely is, and goes on to show कि भाई मतलब किया तो है बंदे ने for all the right reasons. यार, I've burnt my hand so many times. Like how many times he's won his side from a position of no return. We've lost count of it. But again, you also sort of can't deny Abbas's point there कि मतलब हरवाया भी है भाई पिछले 12 महीने में. We've seen that also happen. Which is why all those people saying अरे इसको IPL में कैसे नहीं खिलाया, Mumbai probably effed it up. होता है यार. I mean, good on him. Fantastic knock, but IPL is a different gravy. The bowlers there are far superior. It's not that easier. So it's all right. Fantastic knock. Appreciate it, respect it, and move on. That's how I look at it. That's it.
Nikhil, if there's anyone else to kind of recreate those numbers or that particular unique record, will it be someone like Nicholas Puran or someone belonging to the Caribbean? Sorry?
Is the exact name I had in my mind, that maybe a few minutes later only we'll have this discussion that, we talked about Pollard, here's what Puran did. Because, see, it's one thing to do it once, but the guy has done it so many times over a period of years. And that's the thing, as Abbas mentioned, these things happen. When you play so long, there will be games where you will not be able to finish it off in the way you want to. And what people need to realize is, this is the risk that you running when you play to your strength. Sometimes that the 5 sixes don't come, you blame Pollard for the game. But that is the beauty of cricket. When it comes off, you're going to go gaga running around street like, see, he hit 5 sixes, see, he hit 5 sixes. And that's what great people do. They find a way, they pick their moment, and they come good. So, as Sai Madhav, I think, pointed out, he's done that against Chennai enough for you to never rule it out. But just to see it again happen, I think it was very refreshing and just confirms Polly Kaka's status as one of the T20 greats to have ever played the game. I think very few people will come close to what Pollard is in terms of the whole package, not just the batter. He's a very sharp mind, excellent tactician. He was there with teams assisting them as well in the World Cup. So there's a lot of good time there, and may the cricket keep learning a lot from him.
Yeah, just mad numbers, absolutely mad numbers with regards to Pollard. You look at even when he made his T20 debut, I was just trying to look at that. It's like 2006 or something. He's bloody played for literally quarter of a century, it feels like that, but he'll probably get there. Apart, cheekily saying Klaasen could emulate Pollard's record in time to come. And I mentioned that because IPL is a difference over there. Yeah, good thoughts about that. But again, respect to Pollard. And again, the fact that we put up this graphic showing different kinds of bowlers he's hit as well. Right arm pace, left arm pace, the brilliance of Rashid. Akila Dhananjaya at that point in time was no mug with the ball. So again, if Kieran Pollard is watching this, so any folks from the West Indies, do, of course, give a pat of your back for just enjoying that absolute blaze of an innings. Ramna Kiran just finishing off this Pollard chat saying, Pollard, for the position he bats, 5 and 6 in the long years of dominance, he's arguably the greatest T20 batsman. That's a good shot on a Monday evening from Ramana. Ramana, smash a like, please, and everyone else, do that as well right now, right here, because it helps with the algorithm here, because we're putting out some amazing content. We're going to release a brand new property later this week in terms of shooting outdoor content with amazing cricket academies in India, and the first of which is good old Bangalore. So that drops on Friday, and there's good shorter content like tic-tac-toes, memes, and everything available on our platform right now. Right, anything else about the 100? Because I know, again, who is it, guys? It's the Oval Invincibles, yet again qualified with, I think, a game to spare. And Nick, you've been watching the most 100. A short summation, because there's so much to get through.
I think finally some good close games. Happy with the way suddenly Brook is batting in the terms of how it's fascinating to watch Brook and Pollard Brook and Pooran bat together. Two completely different batters, but they come good together and makes you feel happy. I think all the three teams on top are there for the right reasons. Birmingham Phoenix have made a good late search in terms of Moin Bhai scoring runs, bro. What else is needed in the world? Moin Ali scoring runs at the top of the order. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting that the entire 100 has been seen a lot of low scores because of the balls being used, which is something eventually I always find very fascinating, that we can talk about 100 innovations. Eventually, it's said one cricket ball with a little more pronounced seam that is doing all the damage. So, good to see 100 finally be coming into a phase where you have a lot of entertaining games. Catherine Bryce, if you missed out, she took a hat-trick, took a fifer in the same game. So that was good. Bet Mooney, it was a Gujarat Giants day out in terms of Bet Mooney scoring 99 and then Catherine Bryce taking a fifer. So eventually doing well. Richa Ghosh has just played a good knock for her side today, right now. So finally getting better, not as boring as it was before, but still bowler dominated. I have no complaints. I have complaints when it is 240, 240. 100, 120, I'm cool with it.
Next, you mentioned Richa over there. Just a quick one from you and the other Indian women players in that 100. Smriti Mandhana, Deepti is there as well. Any particular noteworthy performances from them?
Deepti Sharma, FC, you will never get enough from me. She's taken wickets for fun. She's been scoring runs for fun and aggressively, not at 100 or 90. So I have to get it out louder. So Mandhana has had a forgetful kind of a start. Had one knock here and there, which you feel great, finally coming into form. Otherwise, yeah, those are the ones. And Richa hasn't had a great time. Today again, she got a run. So again, it hasn't been easy for batters, which is why all-rounders have done well. So may Deepti Sharma continue to perform well.
Okay, 100 is still there. I think the final happens later on this month, but
yeah.
Just to see Nasser Senkoms and Dinesh Karthik and stealing our ideas of cricket.com tic-tac-toe. How dare they? But jokes apart, go check that out if you guys like our content as well. Let's quickly just talk about the GT20 recap. I mean, it's not a recap because essentially no one cares about that tournament. But one man made all the news for the wrong reasons, and it was his team, Akshay. Can you tell me and the viewers what it is all about with Shakib Al Hasan? And how that game happened in the GT20. For people who don't know, Akshay, the next 45 seconds is yours.
So, yeah, I mean, Bangla Tigers finished third and Toronto Nationals finished fourth, and they were supposed to play the eliminator of the GT20, except they didn't. The rain played spoiled sports, so they weren't able to play. And it seemed like, normalcy usually sees such games being awarded to the team finishing at a higher rank in the league stage, which is what Shakib also thought would happen. Except apparently the rules weren't entirely made aware to the teams before, or the teams were caught napping. They weren't aware of the rules. We're not sure because the CEO of GT20 has made it very clear that these rules were in place before the tournament began. But the rules stated that in case of an event where a full match is not possible, they will play a super over in order to sort of see who qualifies through to the next to the second qualifier. Except Shakib, I'm guessing, wasn't aware. So instead, what they did was come in and they just handed a note and they walked back and they not play the game, which essentially meant that they forfeited the game. Again, found it very bizarre. The rule was very bizarre in and of itself, because we know everywhere else, be it T20Is, be it tournaments, we know that T20s have T20s or rather T20 has a very strict 5-over rule, where a minimum of 5 overs need to be played by both sides in order to ensure a result is possible. Wasn't to be the case here, and apparently, I'm not sure who mentioned this, but apparently the rules were sent on WhatsApp on the day of the game. They were WhatsApp to both the teams कि बॉस अगर और कुछ नहीं हुआ, एक ही ओवर हुआ तो भी चलेगा, मैच होगा, प्लीज स्टेडियम आजा. This was shared with the teams over WhatsApp, and clearly the teams weren't aware of it, and Bangla Tigers had to bear the brunt of it. Toronto Nationals made it through to the second qualifier. I'm guessing they're not complaining because they eventually ended up winning the tournament. So all's well that ends well for them. But with Bangla Tigers, that was the episode. One thing that was very surprising was the fact that Joy Bhattacharya was the CEO of GT20. I wasn't aware of that. So I guess you learn new things every day.
It's not the same Joy, right? It's a different Joy that people are thinking. It's not the cricket analyst Joy Bhattacharya. It's a different Bhattacharya.
No, he's got it. It's the same analyst.
You're joking.
Guy. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, look, I don't know about Joy, but like it makes you question that Bangla team owner and their captain, because I know Shakib is instantly quick to say, okay, fine, he's the wrong one here, but he's many ways assisted malpractice, right? So, Nix, I mean, this Shakib, do we blame him here because he's, of course, had bad things in the past, black marks in his CV? So, do you kind of hold Shakib hostage, or do you think, again, conglomerately, yes, I blame the team, but Shakib's also the captain, so yes, he has to cop the blame?
No, I don't think I'll blame Shakib here. I think I'll give him a pass because I don't think it was entirely his call. And he was not leading a Bangladesh side where I would say, okay, he took the call and eventually that's what happened. So to me, I think it was a team call because you heard the quote from the owner as well. The owner said, we were hoping for a 5-over or 10-over game, and which is where I thank the stars that in IPL there is a rule that for a minimum cutout, there is 10 overs for a knockout game. It's not 5 also, it is 10-over game. So, and it is a fair way for a team to think that we have done well right through the league and we deserve to have that option K. If it is not possible to be in that spot of qualifying through a 5-over or 10-over game, then we go through because we finish high, which I think is a fair expectation. What we don't know is how much of it was found on the day. Like the WhatsApp bit is something the CEO, Joy mentioned that it is there right from the start. All the communications were done on that group itself. Now it's 2024. I don't know what to trust in terms of whether WhatsApp was right or WhatsApp was wrong. But it kind of feels very sad for any team to be knocked out by 1-over game. And you could feel the pain of anyone, whether it is a high-profile game or a short-profile team, that you wouldn't want your entire season to be decided by a super-over game. In a knockout game, that's not even the final. Final to even more, so you would possibly feel, okay, let's have a reserve day and play then. Apparently, again, this is what we've read. The team turned up the next day, assuming that they'll play the next day, but the tournament organizer said, "Bhai nahi, kal raat ko faisla ho gaya tha, wo WhatsApp pe jo bheja tha, wohi final tha, maybe, who knows." So, I don't think it's call of one guy here. I think the entire team did not feel it was justified to play that one game, and they did not turn up for the toss for that entire for that super over game. So, unanimous call maybe. So be it, and just brings more light to the tournament that you need better things in terms of better rules and regulations, just for everybody to have a good time.
Yeah, I mean, it's a real shame, this one, for GT20 to take on their chin, but they have to. And we were kind of thinking deeper in office if Shakib again has another small red mark next to his name, because he's been, of course, amidst various controversies, and you guys can tell me more in the chat. Vikas Shukla going on to say, can you believe one of the owners paid for the covers of the GT20 match? That's ridiculous. That's honestly ridiculous. But thanks for that information, brother. Let's move on then, because again, we're not done with best of the rest, and we still have Akshay's amazing quiz. He had a belter last week. Can he match it up this week? You bet believe that. Right, Women's World Cup. We'll give you an update on that because of all the hullabaloo going on in Bangladesh in just a bit. But KPL Preview, it starts on the 15th of August. All games in the Chinnaswamy, the Maharaja Premier League, or the Howzzatt Trophy, if you want to call it that way. Akshay, you're looking forward to it, not just because we have a couple of things to shoot with certain teams, but also, have you ever given a fuck about this tournament?
Been a while to be honest, since I actually gave a fuck about it, if I have to put it that way. I've watched games. If I've watched at least one game of every season. In fact, 17, 18, 19 is when I actually followed it, because I've mentioned this off air, I'm pretty sure, but I trialed for a couple of teams back then. So I was sort of keeping a clean eye. In fact, this time around, a player I actually played against, not with, is a part of one of the sides. And he's a part of the same side that we will be shooting for. So I'm actually going to bring that up with him. So I'm just looking forward to that interaction. But that apart, yeah, haven't really watched it keenly, but I've always kept an eye on it to just see if there are any talents coming out, the likes of Manvant Kumar and Deepak Devadiga from last season. Those are the two names I'm genuinely looking forward to. One's a pace bowling all-rounder, the other's a mystery spinner. But all in all, it's yet another local league that's just very hard to follow.
Yeah, I remember when they first proposed it, I think right after the IPL 2009-2010, and then it's gone through its ups and downs. The Carbon KPL.
Shamanur Davangere Diamonds. I remember the team.
And the Bangalore Providence. I think the Bangalore Providence.
Yes.
A lot of players coming out of the FUCC Academy, and I played a little bit there, so I would know. But yeah, it's grown and it's kind of come through, and it's kind of shining like all the other leagues are happening right now in India. We saw the TNPL and how Ashwin's team kind of, again, giving some life into these T20 franchise leagues around, because even Dravid admitted to, I think, one of the TNPL broadcasters saying that essentially these are the games that even the Indian coaches are looking at, right? So your Agarkars, Gambhir, the other Indian scouts, they're keeping an eye out for Manimaran. They're keeping an eye out for example, who else? Other names.
Yeah.
And yesterday, I think I was listening to Ashwin and P-Dog on Ashwin's channel, and he also, part of the Dinigal Dragons sort of think tank, wanted to set up like scouts to the SS Rajan Trophy, which is like really deeply ingrained in Tamil Nadu cricket. And that's how they kind of fish out players. One such talent was Sharat Kumar, who, of course, Ashwin lost it with in the TNPL. And people were, of course, going to get a background story of that. But point being, tournaments like TNPL, now KPL next, the DDPL is going to happen as well. We've seen the Andhra Premier League come to the fore. So what are we looking at here? And again, someone like you who follows cricket from a fantasy cricket lens, is there more to look forward to this one as well?
More to look forward to, yes. But sometimes also you have to draw a line that what you want to watch it for. So a lot of times, a lot of people ask me that why do you play fantasy so much? My point is, it makes me, some seasons it makes me watch a lot more cricket, and some seasons when you get a better grip of it, you're like, now I can start to try and make some bucks out of it. So there are some DNPL I don't play enough in terms of fantasy for a lot of earnings, but I play for a lot of learning. So that is something that I stick to, and you have to identify that some leagues, like even the KPL, if I'm not wrong, they have the impact sub. Whenever there is impact sub, I'm far off from it in terms of fantasy link, because I feel it's a lot better to learn than trying to burn your hands, because every team will play with 6-7 options. But that's where you'll see a bit more about Vaishak Vijay Kumar. How does he go about it in a local tournament when the pressure is less? All of this is what you see. Now, you think of KPL, I can think of Stuart Binney, Manish Pandey, KS Bharat, all of these guys coming good, Rohan Kadam coming good, and all of that. So these are all just ingrained in me after having seen them play. But you don't always have to play fantasy for them. You just have to be very sure, okay, it's a good league, good scores, good conditions, great play fantasy. If not, just look to see these guys could be the potential high price buys in the mini auction, or teams could go to them as a possible replacement in terms of, okay, we have a mystery spinner there. Oh, Manvant Kumar is here. There's a guy called Chetan, if I'm not wrong, who's bowling at the back end. So many things for you to observe and keep a note of. And then if you get comfortable, then you play fantasy. So to me, it becomes difficult at times when you have too many leagues happening. But it's always good to watch cricket, and nothing can ever be less of it. So yeah, more cricket is welcome.
And even if you look at the format, it's actually not bad, because the first 14 days of the tournament, all double headers, and then the final is in September 1st. So that'll be interesting to see who wins this competition. great names, not just of Karnataka cricket, but generally some good talents going around. And what is it? 6 teams, right? So go check out all the squads available on cricket.com. I'm going to be keeping a keen eye on good old Mysore Warriors. We'll tell you soon in just a bit. Random information again from Santosh Udappa. We saw this news as well come through, Coimbatore, and how that could be a fantastic facility for that part of the world, just to encourage local talent, and it'll definitely be a TNPL venue in the future. Just want to give you a little bit of breaking news and move away from the CPL right now, because the Cricket West Indian man, Johnny Graves, has stepped down from the board. Now, this is the man who, of course, oversaw 3 World Cups in his time there. You're talking about the Women's World Cup, the Under-19 World Cup, and, of course, the 2024 T20 World Cup. So he's done great things for West Indies cricket. And he was also the man who suggested, in terms of the whole revenue split, not just going to the big 3, because he cited, for example, West Indies traveling to Australia, where Shamar Joseph did what Shamar Joseph did in Brisbane. They actually spent so much on logistics and planes and flight tickets. It felt like us at cricket.com that we had to get budget approvals to just make an ROI. So just West Indian news, breaking news sort of thing there. On to the Women's World Cup, Duleep Trophy, and then we'll wrap up, and then we'll go to the quiz nicely, because already 1 hour, 11 minutes into this Monday Night Live. What is the Women's World Cup update? What have you guys read? I've read that India could potentially be the venue. Akshay made me excited, I think, last week, saying Bangalore and Chennai are potential destinations. Now he stands corrected.
One of our colleagues, no names taken here, but one of our colleagues mentioned that is possible. But again, apparently, the problem with India hosting is India is also going to be hosting the men's team, and there's going to be a bit of men's cricket. There's the domestic season starting. There's also going to be monsoon in certain parts of the country. So, which is why India might not be possible. And apparently a more realistic shout is Sri Lanka, because earlier this year the Under-19 World Cup was moved out of Sri Lanka, so that way they're still due an ICC event, so you could very well see that happen. I for one, I genuinely think this is the perfect time to move a tournament to Dubai. Mausam acha rahega, thanda hai, chill hai, it's pleasant, the facilities are good and all of that, so I wouldn't mind watching the Women's World Cup happen there. But not complaining even if it's Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka's next door. So still no update on that though. Apparently Bangladesh is also not filed a case, but has approached the UN, the United Nations, to sort of ask for a stay order to request the Australian government, the Indian government, the New Zealand, the Kiwi government, and of course the England government, because these are the 4 countries that have issued a diktat to their citizens that please do not travel to Bangladesh, or have discouraged them from traveling, which is why the World Cup right now is in doldrums. So they've approached the UN to ask these 4 nations, these 4 governments to request, to take that order off. If that happens, then you could probably see the cricketing boards being a lot more open to the idea of traveling to Bangladesh. But right now, as things stand, it will most likely be moved out. We are expecting a call one way or the other by the end of this week.
Yeah, interesting that you mentioned that, because I was doing some research as well, and I know that the latest updates from Bangladesh is that a guy called Asif Mahmood, who will be the youth and sports advisor for the interim government, he's requested that they appoint someone under the ICC framework. So let's see if that can help them just get their shit together. Or, of course, because it's a world tournament, you want to get that logistics sorted out before it's too late, because 3rd October is the proposed penciled-in date for the Women's World Cup that was supposed to happen in Bangladesh. I want to ask Nix about it, because let's move away from the Women's World Cup and quickly just talk about the Duleep Trophy, what we've seen and what we've heard so far. Duleep Trophy, I mean, essentially, guys, it's the longest format. It's not the Vijay Hazare, where it's a 50-over format, of the Syed Mushtaq Trophy, which is the 20-over format. So, again, we started this show telling you about that Anirudh Suresh article, which is a fantastic read. Tells you when Virat Kohli played his last red ball domestic game, so on for Rohit Sharma, for Bumrah, so on as well for other players. So I want to ask Nix this. Who are you looking forward to the most in this Duleep Trophy? Is it someone like Sky, or is it someone like KL Rahul, who also could be playing red ball cricket after 4 years domestically?
100%. 2 good names picked up along with Rishabh Pant, I feel. Should be very, very interesting. I want to see how Rishabh bats against Indian spinners itself, because a lot is made about how he smashes Netherlands, and hopefully he can do it for a living. But yeah, I think it always excites you. For some reason, you miss the India blue, India red days, where you could see some of your heroes, when they're not playing for the country, play domestic against each other because it was fun then. It didn't happen because of the fixtures and because they play a lot of cricket. So good to have them tested at home in terms of fitness as well. A lot of them haven't played any long format game for a long time. So this few games will be very, very important for them. It, most crucial, I feel, for Rishabh Pant because fitness aspect. There is a massive test season coming up, and you need him to be at his prime fitness. The good thing is, if KL continues to score, thankfully no strike rate debate here. Just to get it off my chest, कि हाँ strike rate का tension नहीं है. It could help Rishabh, potentially play as a batter. And I think that's it could be a subplot to this entire riveting episode of who plays where, because you blooded in a lot of youngsters at home. But now when you go out, very little spots to play with in that eventual lineup. So I think very, very important time for these batters. And with the ball, again, the Pacers' depth is something that you're looking at. Shami is hopeful of playing the series against Bangladesh, if reports are to be believed. So you need the next line of Pacers to be ready. How Shardul goes, how does everybody else go? And if you haven't, sorry to digress, check out the reels that you've seen from NCA come out in terms of Shami, Shardul and all involved. It is mad, but thank you so much. Sorry.
Yeah, I saw that reel. Tilak Varma included as well. And Shardul had some other crazy quotes earlier this week in terms of how the Australians treated India in hotels, which is bizarre if you think about it in this day and age. Parth going on to say, I don't think they should play the Duleep Trophy. They won't gain much. Let youngsters play these games. He's talking about the big boys indeed. There's another Duleep Trophy comment. In respect, going on to say, as far as I remember, Road did play a first-class game in 2019 before the India vs South Africa home series. Get all your doubts clarified in that Anil Suresh article available on the cricket.com website right now, www.cricket.com, and you'll see it as soon as your eyes go there. More comments to take and more just to ask from Akshay on his thoughts about the Duleep Trophy. Meanwhile, Anshul Chandna, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. If you're loving this conversation, we're loving your comments on this Monday evening. Please give us a shout out. Akshay, right? Sai Madhav has one. Why are the big guns not playing domestic cricket these days anyway? Any specific reasons other than workload? Because I've heard Sachin still playing Ranji even in 2012 or 2013 when Bhuvi took his wicket. So, again, would you like to see that?
Other than workload, क्या होता है भाई? Workload ही तो reason है, इतना बड़ा reason है. You play cricket all around the year, unlike before. Of course, it's going to take a toll on the players, right? Break कहाँ पे लेंगे अगर सारा मतलब the entire year you're expecting them to play for Team India. Now you want them to show up for Karnataka, for Uttar Pradesh, for Delhi, for Mumbai. It won't happen, right? So workload is definitely a very big reason. Apart from
workload is mentioned in Ramana's comment as well. So food for thought with Gambhir being there. He's clearly said Ranji Trophy cricket is a pathway to the Indian Test team. I'm guessing Duleep Trophy is good. Is that well?
Again, if they stop looking at players as all format superstars and if they start identifying, each player's strengths and sticking to that. Gambhir on the one hand used to say कि, एक player का जो format सबसे अच्छा है उसको उसी में खेलना चाहिए. But now once he became the coach, he was like, no, I would want Shubman Gill to play all three formats. If a certain player is going to play all three formats, more often than not, he will be playing for Team India in at least 8 of the 12 months. And then there are 2 months of IPL. That leaves you with just 2 months. At the end of the day, wo bhi insaan hai. So I don't see, all format superstars coming back to the domestic fold. If, again, Gambhir understands this and sort of starts earmarking certain formats for certain players and at best make a player play 2 formats. जो limited over अच्छा खेलता है, ठीक है, तुम ODIs और T20s खेल लो. या जो red ball अच्छा खेलता है, ठीक है, तुम ODIs भी खेल सकते हो. तुम सबसे सब कुछ खिलवाना चाहते हो तो फिर वो नहीं होगा यार.
Yeah, good points there, because I was actually looking at the names that we can witness in the Duleep Trophy and then thinks about some of the batters we saw in that India-England series earlier this year. You're talking about Gill, you're talking about Jaiswal, you're talking about Sarfaraz Khan, you're talking about Rajat Patidar. They all feature in the Duleep Trophy. Mind you, there is a fixture apparently moved out of Anandpur for Bangalore because that just solves out some logistics over there. And it also makes you think about what Jay Shah said in Feb, that people who are not in the particular periphery need to play as much as cricket going forward. Final thoughts on this particular Duleep Trophy then, because does it matter if there's a winner? I think it's a 4-team comp: East Zone, West Zone, South Zone. No, not zone. I was like, which one did I not say? But do we care about that? Are you having any preferences? Akshay, Nick, you want some predictions for shits and giggles in the next
Only thing I have to say is Anandpur, thanks to Gurkirat, I visited Anandpur last year. It's on the border of Punjab and Himachal Pradesh. Hands down, the best plate of butter chicken I've ever eaten in my life.
There are 2 Anandpurs, bro.
I was referring to the one up north. Anandpur.
There's one south, which is bordering Andhra.
The Andhra one.
Of course, why would they move the game from Punjab?
Classic.
You know what? Anandpur, the one which is actually was hosting this game, reminds me of that Vivek Oberoi movie, Rakshit Charitra. Remember that movie? Yeah. So, okay, fine. So, anyway, predictions. Who do you want to see?
No one cares who's winning. यहाँ पे कुछ loyalties नहीं है, bro. किसी को फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा. So, at least मुझे तो नहीं निखिल भाई.
Yeah, maybe once the team is out, then we can have a shout. But at this point in time, no.
Yeah, you mentioned Pacers over there. I would really like to see Shami get back into the scheme of things. I know he's already in the rehab process at the NCA, but 10 tests, like we said at the top of the show for India, to think about till that all likelihood WTC 2025 final. Right, time to, of course, wrap up the show in many ways, but we still have a couple of segments to just breeze through, and it's been a fantastic long show. So what are we waiting for? Let's move to an exciting part where you guys can win big yet again. I'm talking about Howzzatt. Right, Howzzatt? What a question last week. It made us absolutely rack our brains. Now, it was this one that Akshay asked. We will, of course, disclose the answer soon and showcase what he has to offer this week. But the list of players who played for multiple trophy-less teams, it was a hilarious question. So props to Akshay for that. And it induced so many bloody comments. I was like, who's right? So you can tell us, my friend. Everyone's waiting.
I mean, everyone's right technically because all of them have entered a lot of interesting names. So kudos to you guys. But the lucky winner this time around is Shravan Anant Ramakrishnan. So congratulations, Shravan. I hope I've gotten the pronunciation right there. But congratulations on that. Do get in touch with us on Twitter and we will do the rest. The reason being he got the most names and he also got a couple of very interesting names. So there are 17 names in total, including the likes of Prashant Parmeshwaran. There's Prerak Mankad. So these were a couple of names no one really mentioned. Good on Shravan for getting Jesse Ryder and also Mahila Jayavardhani, if I'm not wrong. There's Ben Barshas, there's Wayne Parnell, there's Andrew McDonald. That's a very interesting group of names, to be honest. But yeah, that's the answer for that. If you guys want the entire list, I'll have that out as well someplace. So that was that from last week's Howzzatt. This time around, once again, it's almost like we're sort of peeking and throwing whenever we want. So last time it was sort of a very long list. This time around, we're like, okay, you know what? Let's keep it even more simple. 3 ही नाम देंगे. Kafi easy hai, at least in my eyes and my opinion. Let's see if you guys get it right. Just connect the following, guys. 3 नाम दिए आपको. I hope you guys can recognize these players from their faces. But if not, of course, there's Michael Lam, there's Stephen Fleming, there's Yuvraj Singh. That's a very random group of 3 names, one might think, but there's something that connects all 3 of them. Excited to see how you guys manage to connect that. Do you guys have any thoughts? Because when I saw the 3, I was like, wow, that's such a bizarre group of names. Like the most random names you could come up with, but apparently something connects them. Avnish, anything in mind?
3 left-handers who all played in the IPL 2008 season with 82-degree noses.
Unfortunately wrong because Michael Lam played only in the 2010 season. So
there we go. Next, what's your best bet? Because you can't just say left-handers. I know all these guys in the comments well, but any other sensible guess?
I'm thinking of if there is a record or something that all 3 guys hold.
But once again, guys, live chat में answer मत डालना. Wait for the live stream to end और main comment section में अपना answer डालना. Just a reminder. Yes, Nikhil bhai, what do you think?
Yeah, I feel it could be a record that these 3 guys hold. Potentially on the line के Lam और Yuvraj के लिए I'm still very confident. Fleming का check करना पड़ेगा. So we'll have to spend some time.
Okay, you guys can let us know, but good one from Akshay as well. So just to give you a little bit of reminder who won that last week competition. Akshay just yelled out the answers. Go check that out. And this week, these three connect the following: Michael Lum, Stephen Fleming, Yuvraj Singh. Think outside the box is the clue to win that particular gift hamper. Akshay will reveal the answers, I should say, next week. But right now, do not yell the answers in the live chat. Please don't, because all you guys make the mistake and then someone else takes the prize home. Right, time to, of course, wrap up with you guys, because you guys have been absolutely stellar yet again. And it's time to take your questions. Let's go. Right, that was a very short particular sting, shorter than usual. Now, I know I kept Shubham Sharma waiting in the wings for a while. So where was good old Shubham's question? 1 second. Let me just find it for you here. And he was addressing and asking Nix. Yeah, so Nix, Shubham Sharma saying, why India don't have drop-down pitches? Motera can be used for athletics or football during off-season like MCG is used for footy. Anything to this question, my friend?
Yes, you would want to have multi-faceted, multi-sport stadiums, but you'll have to just use them well. At times, even the cricket stadiums are not used well, and you see a lot of them just lying there without any games. Some stadiums have too many of them, too many games. So it needs a proper reset in terms of which stadium is getting which game, when, and how many, so that you can just take care of a lot of things. Because what you have to remember is India have a lot of stadiums, and a lot is genuinely a lot for India. So you will see that in the Ranji Trophy as well. So many stadiums you wouldn't have even heard of them. So you can have everything that you want, but all of this comes down to your culture in terms of what you want to promote. And it is good that every Olympics we are reminded of the different sports that exist and we watch them and we feel very enterprised कि हाँ ये मैं javelin throw मैं definitely practice करेगा या ये करेगा. 2 महीने बाद we are all into the same old of the old. So it's good. Maybe the more awareness can lead to more people taking up this sport. And when that happens, eventually you will see these decisions trickle down that you have how you had that stadium in US where it was dismantled because it is used for other sports, for basketball, for baseball, sorry. So yeah, maybe we will go down that route one day as well.
I think we definitely will. And when you look at some of the Premier League stadiums in London, they adapt their styles to NFL games being hosted. You look at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, I think it is in North London, which is just brilliant. And even if you kind of think about the cost of, say, I don't know, other sports, I'm thinking about what, hockey, right? If you want to really create a hockey stadium, that's 4 crores just for the turf. So that's just, again, about sports governments and mandates and all of that. So it's chat for another day, but good question, Shubham. We have one more from Yash Agarwal, and he asks this, Akshay, I'll give this one to you. Any impact of it in the T20 World Cup, given it happens every 2 years, but the Olympic event will happen every 4 years. Also, they're following the same format as football, allowing only under 23 players. So you have that first question, because we spoke about the second question quite a bit.
I'm just trying to understand any impact of it. Like, what are you trying to ask? So just to, like, I'll just answer it as you know.
The fact that it's happening rather quickly.
Yeah, I mean,
हाँ, मतलब the point is कि T20 World Cup हर 2 साल में होता है, तो same format में Olympics करेगा तो कैसा होगा?
तो कुछ नहीं, मतलब उसका एक तो फ्रीक्वेंसी से फॉर्मेट का कोई रिलेशन नहीं है ना. आई थॉट ही वाज आस्किंग कि 2028 में फिर वर्ल्ड कप का क्या होगा. But again, in terms of format, we're still unsure. We all discussed, we all gave our thoughts and opinions on what could be the format, what could potentially be the duration, and if they would follow the under 23 rule that they did with football. We're not sure of it. We did give our thoughts. And in terms of will it impact the T20 World Cup? I don't think so, yeah.
I think he asked this because if you actually think about it, LA 2028 is when cricket is in the Olympics and it starts then. There is a 2026 World Cup in India, and then it happens in the every even year. So I think there could be that summer where you'll see the T20 World Cup and then you'll see the Olympics either preceding it or whatever. I think that's where Yash
IPL, T20 World Cup, Olympics, all 3 of them happening back to back. That's a blockbuster season there, Avnish. I mean, I know we're still 4 years away from it. I'm already excited for that. I'm like, give me more T20 cricket. Come on.
Yes. That'll be
but
mad.
which is why I just feel if it's T10, it is better because then it will be restricted to just once in 4 years.
Yeah.
That way you take care of the format also and the novelty is also there.
Yeah, I mean, just think about even the FIFA World Cup when it happens in 2030 in that summer, it'll just be having everything as we want as sports fans. So many great questions. There's one more earlier where I promised Priyanshu I'll take. he went on to ask us, guys, how is 100 to watch after back-to-back WPL, IPL, T20 World Cup, and then the Olympics? Sadly, there's no sports to watch. P.S. I don't see football. Priyanshu, I'll take this one. 100 really captivates you if you're watching it on particularly fan code because there's no ads and it has really good commentators in terms of Nas, Michael Atherton, this DK, of course. There's a lot of fun and games which go around it.
And you've also got Mr. Cameron Green to give you company. उसके बिना तो नहीं होगा भाई. मैं थक गया.
Man, no chance. And I feel like sometimes, even though the viewing is nice, like SAT20 timings and 100 timings and T20 blast timings is similar. So it goes on to that sphere as well. When I'm thinking about the 100, I mean, I would like to see IPL franchisees be involved there again. I know GM Arizona said Southern Brave, he wants to buy that out eventually and set up something in Southampton. So again, only time will tell. One good thing about the 100 and one bad thing about the 100 because it's going on from Akshay and Nikhil, and then we'll move on to one more question and we'll wrap up.
So good thing about the 100, I feel, is the colors. And this is very, very generic, but very, very good that blue nahi dikhta hai yaar, shanti hai dimag ko. Matlab, I'm tired of blue competing with blue at every point of time with different shapes and sizes. So that is the best thing in terms of color. There is red, there is black. Manchester Originals, I don't care if they don't win a single game. It's just good to watch a black jersey on the screen. So that is unfortunately one of the good parts about the 100. Bad, I don't know if it's necessarily bad, but I just feel had this been done by the SA20, maybe it would have gone to a different level. I don't think it was sold well in terms of how it came through to the people, because even SA20 doesn't have a lot of overseas players. It does. Maybe it has IPL teams, which is why the ice was broken very early. I think that's where the 100 has probably just lost the race, that you don't relate to it as much. So maybe that's something that's a bit of a downer for them.
Akshay, you?
I mean, very few good things, to be honest, here with the 100. I'm not a fan of the format. I really am not. I just don't understand क्यों change करोगे तुम, जो है उसे खेलो ना यार, क्या. And again, I can't stress enough about how ironic it is that this format was conceived in a bit to make it a lot more easier for the average viewer. And you've just complicated it even more. Yeah? I don't think they've done anything to simplify the sport. So why are you just randomly coming up with multiple sets and this and that and whatnot? I only have bad things to say. The good thing, I do agree with Nikhil bhai, the jerseys are very good. Not a lot of blue, but even the blue that there is, London Spirit, I love that blue. वो blue तुम लाओ IPL में, फिर भी मैं देखूं that royal blue. Blue में भी तुम हकते हो यार, यहाँ पे क्या करें हम? So I do agree, jerseys are good, but I don't know what does it count for. Maybe IPL owners coming in, and also the fact that apparently the 100 hasn't worked whatsoever. So once the 6-year deal with Sky ends, they are looking to revert back, probably T20 Blast के साथ some sort of a merger. I don't know how are they looking at it, but तुम वो करो भाई, जल्दी से 100 वाला format scrap कर दो, चुपचाप T20s खेलो. I'd be more than happy to watch it.
Yeah, just one tweet on it. They are going to keep the branding of the 100 but play 120 balls. Good luck.
Exactly. Karo ye.
Again, they wanted to have this brainchild compete with the IPL, like Akshay said. It's turned out to be the ICL more than anything else. And it's almost like the ICL and the Syed Mushtaq Trophy is happening at the same time.
No, don't compare ICL. ICL had
ICL is OG. In all fairness, ICL is OG.
IPL is inspired by ICL.
It's almost like the IPL fine and Syed Mushtaq Trophy is happening at the same time in terms of England right now, because having the T20 Blast at the same time and then the 100 is just insane. The one thing I've liked about the 100 this season, apart from the commentary, is Chris Jordan bowling a whole set of 10 balls, top balls, nuts against, I think, who was it? James Wins? Or was it someone else? I think
it was Brave only. I don't remember.
Some left-hander at the top of the order, but I could be wrong. Right, we've had plenty of fun taking all your questions, and good old Ramana will have the last one, right? If you were to pick the Indian squad for the Australia in December, right now, do Sundar and Thakur warrant test spots? They seem mentally tough and capable against quality pace too. Would you take those two names? I know a lot's changed since that Gabatoir in 2021. Sundar maybe, but Thakur, I think, is way down the pecking order for me. Akshay next, and then we'll wrap up.
मेरे लिए उल्टा है, to be honest. Again, we're talking about the 11 or the squad here.
I mean, essentially those two. Obviously, we can't talk about the squad, but
in the squad, right? In the 15, 20 men. I don't mind both of them being selected because Sundar's batting, though definitely he's shown कि against high pace and bounce he has the ability. But again, abhi time काफी हो गया, so I don't know if you can say Sundar warrants a test spot. It'll also depend on how he fares against New Zealand and Bangladesh. I know venues are different, surfaces are different, and all of that. So fair. शार्दुल ठाकुर यार मतलब एक चाहिए ना यार, कोई ना कोई बैटिंग करने वाला जो पेस बॉलिंग डाले, एक तो बंदा चाहिए, नहीं तो तुम कहां पे तुम स्पिनर्स को नहीं खिला सकते. At best you would want one spinner, you don't want to play both Ashwin Jadeja. There's also Kuldeep Yadav in the reckoning. Between the three of them you would at best want to play two, and no more than two. And this is at best. So given that you would want someone like a Shardul Thakur who can bat at number 8, ensure there's some semblance of batting depth, and then of course Bumrah and any of the other pacers, Shami ideally, and then you would want, of course, a spinner. So yeah, I wouldn't mind Shardul in my 11 itself. So squad mein to banta yaar uska to, as the only pace bowling all-rounder of some repute in India right now.
Listen, guys, I mean, essentially, that's still a long way away. We have 5 tests against Australia starting November 22nd. We still have 5 tests to play against Bangladesh and New Zealand before that. Shubham Sharma, we did take your question at the start of this segment, so go check that out. Nick and I, both of us spoke about it. Sai Madhav saying, Avnish, my domestic question, please. Where is it, lad? Okay, here we go. I know I said Ramna's the last, but I'll be hospitable and welcome one more. Is this domestic works only for the contracted players to prove their match fitness after injuries, but we can't say some of the need form technique adjustments for further improvement of the game? Look, essentially, you will look at Pujara and Rahane not being involved in the Duleep Trophy. So many selectors are saying that it could be the end of the road for them in terms of test match curtains. Where do you guys sit in this? I mean, I think it should just be for anyone who wants to get back into form, who wants miles in their legs like Shami. That's why you have these competitions, right? And imagine Shami turning up to Anandpur, albeit it's moved to Bangalore right now. It just adds a little bit more oomph to this tournament. It's been since 1961, and the BCCI probably want to add some of these stardom players from time to time to make it a grandiose scheme of things.
I mean, that's just an added advantage, but that cannot be one of the objectives. The objective is, of course, to develop talent, to groom talent, to come up with new players, and not just be there कि हाँ शमी अगर खेलेगा तो tournament अच्छा दिखेगा. I don't think that is their objective. Apart from that, I do agree that on the one hand, I mean, it's two-pronged. It's not an either-or situation, Sai. So he says, is it only for contracted players to sort of prove their match fitness, or is it for people to also improve their technique? It's both, yeah. It is for players like Shami to prove their match fitness after injuries. It's also for someone like, I don't know, Virat Kohli has a weakness against a moving ball outside off stump. Agar usko lagta hai ki boss, I have to work on it, I have to improve on it. What better way than to get actual match practice? So next mein jitna chahe kar lo. Match practice is match practice. It brings you into that zone. It gets you into that zone. You understand yourself better. It's a bit of both. It's also about developing new talent, giving new talent the chance to rub shoulders with the experienced pro. So it's a bit of everything.
Yeah, I actually have an idea on that let's do this. In terms of India cricket, they can do this. Every year, when you have a big tour, try and play this Duleep Trophy in conditions that are going to be replicated on that tour. And that could be the best way to prepare for the tour. Because India we keep having poor starts to overseas tours. Use this time. So if you're playing England in this year, play on green tops, play in Lali for all you care, because that's the best way to prepare. We've harped and cried and screamed about pacers not knowing the lengths to bowl on those kind of decks. Have those decks in Duleep Trophy. You have the entire year to plan them. Agar Australia mein ja rahe ho, try and play on spicy decks in the country with more pace and bounce. That is as good a match practice as you could get. This will benefit you far more than your warm-up games. It is eventually doing a very high qualified warm-up games with your own national. So I think that is something that could be really looked into a deeper system. That I know India and all of that happens, but this could just pave the way for having better match practice, because we keep going overseas and say, if we lost the lens in the second session, third session, let this be the practice ground.
Yeah, I mentioned Lali there, maybe Dharamsala, maybe the other green decks across the country in the calendar as well. But great question from Sai, and he thanks me as well for taking it. Look, we're 10 minutes over time, and Santosh will be there probably doing fan cams and that. But if you're around the stadium, we'll be more than happy to meet up with you. Thank you so much, guys, for, of course, making yet another MNL a success. And tune in to Spotify if you guys are into that thing, because we're there as well. YouTube, you guys know where to find us, cricket.com/TV, and Instagram, cricket.com_official for all you lovers of the short content. Akshay and Nikhil, have a fantastic week ahead, lads. I'll see you guys shortly. Plenty of us to, of course, do many things. And even the people in the comments, really, really appreciate it. Next week, we will have a prize for people who comment the most in the MNL, right? So get your keyboards up next week. That's going to be fun and interactive. Until the next time, it's a goodbye from me right now, and have some fantastic food later on this week. I just saw the food behind, and it looks like a belter of a pizza today. Let's go. Thanks, guys. We'll see you shortly. Where is this closing sting? It is here.